That's 0-time world champion Paul McBeth. Not a lot of the viewers out there probably ever seen that guy before.
And what I love about this video already, right off the bat, we are at Ricky Wysocki versus Paul McBeth 1 and 2. And it's just a foreshadowing of the next decade, the next era of disc golf, just a battle between those two guys at the top of the ranks.
We wanted to go ahead and kind of revisit from 8 years ago, from the final 9 of Pro Worlds in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so yeah, let's take a look.
All right.
Well, the first time we did this is when we did the 100K party, the shirt that you're wearing. And we got McBeth rocking the dynamic disc shirt back in the days before dynamic discs even made plastic. So this was back in the early days. This was the beginning of McBeast. And yeah, hole one.
That's 0-time world champion Paul McBeth. Not a lot of the viewers out there probably ever seen that guy before.
And that's 0-time world champion Ricky Wysocki. And what I love about this video already, right off the bat, we are at Ricky Wysocki versus Paul McBeth 1 and 2. And it's just a foreshadowing of the next decade, the next era of disc golf, just a battle between those two guys at the top of the ranks. And obviously Will Schuster right there. At this time, Will Schuster probably was the #1 ranked player in the world. And if you know anything about local favorites, you got Michael Johansson, Charlotte, North Carolina. He's the king out here. And the crowd just absolutely loves watching him play.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was actually the first time Ricky Wysocki ever made a putt outside the circle, and he still hasn't missed one since. Schuster going into the final 9 in 3rd place. And this is the beginning of the final 9. We start on Charlotte's Web, old Charlotte's Web. The course has actually changed quite a bit, but Charlotte's Web, old hole 5. And this is the old hole 6 long. And this is a great hole with a road down the right side. And you just want to crush it straight, and Paul's that's his picture perfect drive.
Yeah. And we're going to be jumping around a little bit. This is just kind of some highlights footage. Yeah. Germ's our tour guide, since this is didn't you say this is probably the park you've played more than any other park, right?
Yeah, this is the course that I've put the most blood, sweat, and tears into. Just the love of the game really came from Hornets Nest Park. And you're going to see something really interesting here. Will just throws so much Anheuser, hits the road, but this is what always happens when you hit that road at that angle. It always turns on the angle, slides back in bounds, and you can see MJ acknowledge, yeah, I've seen that happen a couple times before. And this is already fast forwarding to the next hole. Just the approach on what is normally traditionally hole 7 at Hornets Nest. And Ricky kind of showing off where a lot of good drives land, but a really tricky approach. But Ricky just showing that insanely good sidearm touch there with it. It was beautiful. And this is the treacherous island hole. This is a really short hole. I think it's like 200 feet. And MJ hits the hay bales. You get 2 shots from the tee to get in bounds, and if you don't, you go to a drop zone that's about 28 to 30 feet away. And Ricky safely lands in bounds.
I have 2 things to say. Okay. Jonathan, I love the light balance. Second.
Oh, man.
Second, I just want to get it out there. Jonathan was not here to film. He came to this tournament to play, and he's the only person filming this. And this is 2012 World Championships Final 9, McBeth's first World Championship. And that illustrates better than almost anything else you could say what's changed in our sport 2012 to 2020.
I mean, you don't have to be a professional camera guy to know to just keep the camera stable. Jesus, Jonathan, like, what are you doing?
He's excited.
Come on, man. It was my first time ever on the course.
I'm kidding. This is a hole that is no longer around anymore. This is the second to last hole of the final 9. Pretty tricky little low ceiling, yet still uphill shot that has to travel pretty far left. Right about 330 feet or so, I feel like, from memory. Really fun hole. When I first started playing, I didn't really throw many backhands. You really can't throw a sidearm on this one. So this was a hole that really challenged me from the beginning days in trying to be a little bit better at both forehand and backhand. And we saw a couple good drives there, but a lot of people well outside the circle, and MJ leaning his head over and dropping in the ringer from 40 feet, as he has done so many times before. And a nice putt from Will. This is 2012. This is right before the big announcement of Prodigy, which came out officially January 1st, 2013, which obviously Ricky was a part of, and Will, and was really the beginning of the next era of disc golf when disc golfers, professional disc golfers, started getting salaries, which was a really big moment in the sport of disc golf.
And this is the final hole, right?
Yeah, this is the final hole, and traditionally the hole is right at the end of the straightaway here, like kind of in between those trees and the softball field fence. And then for the World Championships, they decided to bring the basket around the corner, just make it a little bit trickier, put the basket on the side hill. And Will was the only player to try going the big spike hyzer route, which is always impressive to watch.
And McBeth has like a comfortable lead here.
Yeah, it was almost impossible to catch him in the final 9. He would have really had to mess up, and Ricky would have had to play superb. Ricky is really great at final 9s, but I mean, you're just not going to see a player like McBeth, who just was already cool, confident, and poised at this stage of his career, even though he wasn't a world champion.
Oh.
There you go. I don't know how he didn't hit that. That was pretty close to committing a pretty silly error there, but it's the last hole. He was guaranteed 4th place, so he's just having fun with the crowd. Having a little bit too much fun with the crowd now. And there you go, Ricky Wysocki still hasn't missed a jump putt.
Ricky probably 19 years old, maybe here, maybe less.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to see him with such a big smile on his face. Because not that. Okay, let me take this back. You don't traditionally see Ricky at this point be happy with 2nd place, even at the World Championships.
Sure.
You know, I mean, but this was the first time he had been at that stage, and that's the most emotion we've ever seen from Paul McBeth right there. Just the 2 hands in the air, and that's it.
That's what you'd expect. I mean, world champion. That's a pretty amazing moment. Who knew it was going to be 3 more in a row right after that?
Yeah, it was the beginning of an era.
It really
Incredible.
was on a lot of fronts, from players to media to just so many things that developed. Like you said, even the disc manufacturers. It's crazy. Only 8 years ago, how much has changed.